Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Right. Reddy is not going to make the meeting today, so I'm going to host the meeting and take notes. So first thing I want to announce is Samsung is going to present their CXL switch redfish schemas. But the team is in Korean, so they would like to request for a single time of change for the meeting. I think the proposed time is moved to 4 p.m. Pacific time. CMS, are you able to confirm the meeting time with them?
Yes, after 4 p.m. Pacific time is 8 a.m. Korea time. So that time is appropriate for them, but we need to select a day. Just make sure they're okay with this time as well.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
In any particular, were you suggesting the same Thursday or any other day?
One thing I'm not quite sure is May 1st, their Thursday is a holiday. May 2nd, Friday is probably not, but I don't know how many people. I don't know if they will take day off or some like the key person who will present. So please double check. Our Thursday will be their Friday.
I appreciate that, but we don't have to meet on Thursday. We can meet earlier, Tuesday, Wednesday, or even Monday.
Yeah, I don't know how many people in this group can present. Anyway, we are going to record. So please, should we pick a day, or do you want the Korean team to pick a day?
I think let this team pick a day, and I will recommend that one to the Korea team. It's very likely they can make it. If not, they will let us know.
Okay. Okay.
Because there are more companies involved on this call, so let's select that one first.
Yeah, so I think I think May 1st evening, if it works for them, is good, because May 2nd will not work for them because it will be their Saturday. And before May 1st, I have serious availability issue.
Look, it could be the following week. I think the point here was May 1st for us is their May 2nd, but hey, it's the day after holiday, they might want to take that off as well. So
yeah, so check with them. If it is like that, then a week after is good. Okay.
let's pick another day besides May 1st for us. The following week, then
yeah.
I will make both proposals to them.
So how about May 8th at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. as the second date?
That's fine with me. Others on the call have any opinions?
Okay, let's record that. May 8.
Thursday.
Yeah, also 4 p.m. Pacific.
Okay, so I make both requests, basically both for us Thursday afternoon at 4 p.m. We'll see which one they put.
Okay, sounds good. Samir, please email me once they confirm. I will update the meeting and send out notifications through the email list.
Actually, this might work better for other team members from DMTF who can't be at this hour because they have a conflicting meeting with other organizations. But if we push it to 4 p.m., maybe they can join as well. I'll make recommendation to Jeff Hilland as well.
Yeah, they're 2 hours ahead of us, Texas-based people. So
No, this particular hour, they have a standing meeting about the same topics.
no, I mean I'm talking about 4 p.m. being 6 p.m. in Texas.
Yeah, I understand. They should be used to it by now, but okay.
Okay, so yes, thanks CMAC for inviting the Samsung team to present. I think next is we want to get some update on the white paper. Let me try to pull up the white paper. So we have the white paper right now, like this. I noticed there are some changes from grant, but there's not other updates to the paper from last week. Reddy did the major part for the introduction, the logical system architecture.
This needs update. This figure needs update.
Yeah.
I think there was, if you can pull the figure from the meeting date, there was better figure in the meeting than this was just a placeholder, if you all remember. I think Adam, you will remember.
What was the question? Sorry.
Sorry, yeah, I know.
Mhm.
During the CMS Tech Day presentation, there was diagram of sort of software stack, management and memory management and fabric management software stack.
You remember who presented?
I'm trying to check, okay.
Okay.
I actually don't remember because we had a lot of presentations from outside people in the beginning. So I think, did Reddy go first this time? No, workload team went first. And then Samir and Manoj. So I'm just looking through my notes to see who presented. Okay, so Reddy was almost like second half.
You can assign me an item if you want me to go look through it. I kind of have a rough idea too, but I could go back and look through the slides and look for if there's an updated document that or not document, sorry, figure that fits better here. I don't mind taking that on.
Yeah. So like, we need update diagram with things like folios and such things, right?
Samir offered a diagram from the point of view of one host and one device. He had software stack there diagram also. That's the one I noticed that we could enhance that by adding things like chassis manager and smart NIC to make it a system level. Maybe we can combine the two concepts.
Well, they had some system diagrams of how to connect memory from away from the die through head node memory and all that. Which diagram are you talking about, Seema? Can you think of the slide title?
I don't, but Samir was presenting from their point of view, perhaps the requirements for a CXL device to fit well with the high-level systems.
AI systems or?
No, it was not necessarily AI, it was any system.
Samir only had one presentation with Manoj, right? Or was there a second presentation by Samir you're referring to?
The only
It was
one.
probably during the same presentation, was one slide that he had CXL device, RAS, security, and other things mentioned on it.
Okay.
I'll look for it and set it out.
Okay, thanks, Seema.
Okay, so looks like chapter 4 to 5 is still not getting enough contents. There are some I believe Grant or someone filled this part, chapter 6 and 7. And I did chapter 8. Chapter 9 is not so looks like we have 3 chapters. We have volunteers or somebody assigned to write up those sections.
Yeah, I think it might be me for at least some of the sections, but yeah, I hadn't done anything since the workshop, and I was just wanting to know when is our target, right? For the next like what is the next date that we want something filled in? So I need in general I don't work until I have some deadline. So I'm sorry I haven't I missed a couple of meetings, but yeah, just kind of fill me in and when you need things.
Yeah, ideally this is a good wish, I would say, because I know everybody has like priorities and
Yes.
this is a good wish that we can have a rep 0.1 in a week.
Okay. And what do these revs mean? Like, I don't understand what's the difference between rev 1 versus 0.5 roughly. Could you let me know?
There is no hard definition, I guess. It's just where we try to get people to involved.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
No worries. So I'll put it on my end to
If you can fill in a little bit, maybe just kind of a rough like key points, that would be much better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I think the ref 0.1 maybe even the 0.5 will not be released.
Okay, so the one question I have too is I filled in an outline, and is that what you're looking for, right? So I think it would be good to have a little bit of feedback on the high level outline. That's usually where I start and make sure that that's what you're thinking as well. And so I think that would really be useful for me.
Good, good question. I'm not the right person to answer this question. Reddy is not here. We might follow up with Reddy or CMS. Do you have more general opinions on what like the white paper should cover, or what do we miss? What should we do?
Well, I think high level is we've had some initial ideas and understanding how CXL was going to be used, but in the past year and couple of years, those things have changed, and perhaps that's why we are focusing a little bit more on AI ML and then the fact that things other than CXL have been introduced, and we as a memory fabric people, not just CXL people, would like to keep certain things common. Maybe the physical layer changes, but we would like the upper layer that software touches stay the same. I think those are the high level points that we should draw through this.
Okay, so let me look to, so I just looking at this here, so maybe I could verbally describe, and Hongjian, I think you think it'd be good to get your feedback. So the whole plan for me on the OS kernel usage, right, is that this was mainly driven through type 3, right? So, I want to tell a story here, right? It's like, how did the CXL software evolve? That was primarily through type 3, and the fabric depends on some of this basic support. And so, I want to start talking about a little bit of the high level concepts that are important for dynamic memory. Like, initially it's static and there's responsibility of either the BIOS or the OS, like some key components. Some of these memory alignment issues are more details, but at least some background of some important concepts related to adding or removing memory. Then I want to talk about how do we evolve, like how is the driver evolving currently now, right? Like say DCD is one mechanism that could work for dynamic memory, right? And this is in the context of fabric management. And then again, I think we should cover how to talk to a fabric manager and what the kernel views as its responsibility, at least from discussions that I've had with others. And then the last part would be is like, now that we do have the ability to have dynamic memory, what are the implications on, say, core memory management, right? Like, so that's my high level discussion. So it's how did we get here, and where could the fabric take us, right? And where is it putting, I don't want to say pressure, but where are there some pain points between what there is now versus what the fabric management will bring to us? That's the high level idea.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic to me.
Okay. Okay.
We don't need to be very specific about like use cases under what condition, how the detail of the mechanism. But yeah, I think for the white paper, we just give this level.
Okay.
Adam, along those lines that you mentioned,
Yes.
if you could take advantage of work outside of CXL or OCP, DMTF and Linux community or such, just please mention those as well so that we all know that these things are interrelated and work is being done in multiple places, how we can interact.
Of course, yeah, definitely. And yeah, I think I take it for granted that I'm part of these other communities. And so some of them that you mentioned, right? So I think, yes, I'll make that very explicit and pointers, references. That way, interested parties may go look at some of these things too, right? So yeah, I think that's a great idea. It's about bridging people together.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. I'm not dead yet. Did we have a volunteer for chapter 9? 9? 9
Hey, Hangjin.
Hi.
During the meeting, I think the gap we tried to close was around, the AI system side. So there are two resolutions from the meeting. One is that we should complete the the reference architecture for traditional server system. This is, I think, CMS called this crawl, walk, run. So for things that we can put together and make work right now, we need to fully document uh, who is able to build and use the reference architecture. Okay, that's the kind of thing we need to do here. But we need to maybe name the do some named versions of the architecture, because we want to evolve it to cover things like DPUs and AI systems also. But we want to give name to a version like 1.0 or something, and say what is the adoption around that.
Is this content going to fit into the chapter 9, or is more
Yeah,
general?
because see, the thing is that it kind of goes with the document, right? That if we are going to have the document that is a complete description of fabric management for type 3 devices, leaving outside type 2, leaving outside DPUs and AI systems, then I think, we want to say, hey, reference architecture is highly evolved for this situation, and there is work in progress in other areas. So I think this is Reddy's territory.
Okay.
He probably is the author of this.
Okay. Regarding to the reference architecture, do we have something already, or is that something we need to draw from scratch? I'm just trying to figure out, or is that something Reddy may have some, might have,
For this, for the, are you focusing on chapter 9 now and not 10?
yeah, 9.
Okay. Okay. The reference architecture, I think Pankaj is just trying to guide us through this. We can, in fact, have simpler systems, a server node, we know what that is, and then take it through the progression of what we can do with expansion, not necessarily in the same chassis, but outside of that chassis. And then take it out and see, okay, what disaggregation might mean so that it can fit better with chapter 10. So chapter 9 is baseline. In chapter 10, it says it goes to the disaggregation. So, I mean, chapter 9 should be simple, right?
Yes. I'm trying to figure out who will be the volunteer to fill up this chapter. Guess because I get a lot of useful information from you two, and but if we just talk about this, nobody write those things down into the white paper, they will be pretty soon get like forgotten. So I'm just thinking if it is Reddy going to do this chapter, or maybe based on today's meeting, I'll just summarize and fill it up.
I can outline what has been done so far around simple devices to plug in into CPU and multiple headed devices and switch-based devices. These are all the type of things that we have talked about. That's an outline of what's been done. individuals who work harder and deeper on every section could add to that outline.
Thanks for that.
With this outline, I can add more detail in terms of the current switch solution architecture we have.
Sorry, Jim, are you also want to contribute to chapter 9?
Yes, I can contribute more on the switches, memory pooling, combo architecture.
Okay, yeah, yes, please.
Hey, Simak, while we were talking, I found the slide you might have been thinking of for Adam to pick up. Hey,
Okay.
Hongjin, can I share for a second?
Oh, yes, please. Let me stop share first.
So can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
I think Simak was thinking of this diagram that Samir presented together with Gaurav in the solution requirements section.
Yes, this is the diagram, and I believe on the left-hand side and right-hand side, there's a nice stack of things. But the device in the middle, in this diagram, this Samir's intention was just from the viewpoint of one host talking to one CXL device. But we can enhance that to see a device that it is part of a switch base, part of the fabric, and the system that might have chassis manager and also SmartNIC, TPU, IPU. If we add those elements into this diagram, I think that's complete.
Okay. I think you all have access to the slide decks. This is from the presentation that Samir and Gaurav did on software. I think it's kind of a good framing for all the manageability related things that we need to supply. And some of the concerns, like CMAC was saying, RAS, reliability, availability, serviceability, security. And then there were some points made, there needs to be coverage of in-band and out-of-band was already listed in this diagram. And then there were 2 points made here around interoperability. I think what is meant here is how well we need to find problems with interoperability problems between CPUs and CXL infrastructure. And also on the other side, meaning in the device side, between the DIMMs that might go into CXL boards, such as Google presented, and how those DIMMs interoperate with CXL SoCs that might be on those CXL boards. Both sides need to be covered. I think it may be that we have some coverage or considerations lacking. And I think the other thing was that if we have gaps in capturing telemetry or notifications, it's talking about this area, uh, meaning things like exception and error handling, uh, just general health and system maintenance like firmware updates and so on. These are practical considerations of hyperscaler, even in very first generation solution. They are looking for more completeness in the reference architecture, I think. I wish one of these guys was here too. But Hongjin, were you able to capture what I have on the screen, or do you want me to email this separately for minutes?
I have the slides.
Okay, very good. You can go back to sharing.
Okay. I'm just trying to update the notes while people are speaking. For the white paper, is any other recommendations or comments from the team? Page to the table of content. Okay, I assume there's
And Adam, there were other stack diagrams in Samir's presentation that kind of visit the topic of Linux CXL subsystem enrichment. And what are the gaps? And I think you remember this.
Yeah, you know, one thing I think that would be useful. So when I think about this white paper, I don't want to think too far ahead and reveal all the problems. I think this is evolving work. What am I getting at? I think some people can not see even the basic mechanisms to that this works, right? So I think those of us that are working in this can see how these fabrics work and how it all fits together. So my goal will actually to bring it a bit simpler. What do I mean is that like one view you could take once the device is connected to the host, then it's no longer a problem of fabric, right? It's a problem of the OS to the device. Like going back to that figure that you showed, you can talk about RAS and all these different features that a CXL device provides. But in my mind, from a fabric perspective, uh, although there may be some relations, the first discussions we should have is kind of separate the two, is that the fabric will attach these devices into switches or, then there's different models that we have. But I believe for this white paper, it will be much better to focus on what is doable now that people understand that we're actually pretty close to having usable systems. Yes, and there's some caveats around this, but I want to show that it's evolving in a natural way. And yes, there may be more work to go ahead, but I don't want to overstate that we need everything and we're missing everything, right? I guess so that's one thing that I think may be useful for the white paper, right? And I think this was discussed previously, and like with Reddy is saying, hey, we actually have done quite a bit of work and we're moving towards this. Yes, it's not complete in all aspects, but it's important that people understand how far we are, right?
Adam, check the
Yeah.
chat message.
Okay.
So the discussion I was trying to have with you was not
Mhm.
about the diagram that Samek
Okay.
was alluding to,
Yes,
but
yes,
rather this other diagram that is actually a replacement for the rather placeholder style, very old diagram we have currently in the white paper. And this should not involve too much work for you.
yes,
Um, you just need to check this because, to me, it checks out okay because it says, hey, the stack looks like this today, that
yes,
Linux already has these CXL related pieces and some in the pink are in the work or
yes,
will come in the future. So if this
yes,
looks okay, we need to find a source of this talking to Samir and just
yes,
replace the diagram and get going. It will kind of start to bring the white paper to a close.
yes. I think this is closer to what I would want. Exactly.
Yes.
This
Okay.
is this one's I think closer to, yeah. But yeah, we need to put it in the context of the fabric, right? Because these are separate problems. Many of these problems are direct attach problems, right? And I don't want to focus too much on the direct attach. They can evolve separately.
Correct. I think, the way to think about this, right, is
Mhm.
we need to just, Hongjin, this is for you. We need to look at this white paper as saying, okay, we have in the last few weeks clarified that the scope of fabric management ends with provisioning, that actually memory management is a customer of
That's right.
fabric management. Okay. So the diagram that we are talking about right now, right, the stack diagram, it basically is saying what does that stack look like at the client of fabric management, where we deliver all this. And I think the point that Adam was making last, if I understood Adam's point correctly, is that is to clarify more things about like APIs and events and protocols and connectivity, etc., at the bridge between the hardware and uh, the Linux subsystem. Okay, which is what does fabric management actually deliver in each of these areas like expanders, telemetry, memory pooling, dynamic capacity, and eventually things like shared memory, P2P, and compute offload. Okay, so if we could just cover the left three topics and maybe some of Samir's topics, um, and just close out, like I think we just need to be thinking in terms of closing out this white paper.
Yeah, totally agree that we need to stop after memory provisioning. Um, um, I'm not sure how much we want to cover about operation system and device driver side. It's a common theme between direct attached and fabric attached memory. Um,
Yeah, yeah. So my plan is only provide the background needed and how when we use the fabric, how the OS becomes involved, right? Just
yeah,
that people understand. It's only to tie the two of them together where they have relationships, right? I
right.
think that's the most important part of this white paper.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, sounds good to me. Um,
So I think, Adam, if you can take uh, the editor's pen and make this diagram replacement today, at least let's get that ugly old diagram out. Let's put this new diagram in, and then let's worry about, other things like write up and updates.
That's probably
Okay. Yeah.
do it.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
You are talking about
Yeah.
remove
Yeah.
this one
Yeah.
and
Just get.
replace with this.
Yes.
this. And I'm viewing. Okay. Okay. Anything else about the white paper? If not, so we had some discussion about the Redfish interface from like the last week and a few weeks ago. Not sure if anything we want to continue discussing on it. One proposal we had was to build our own kind of Redfish mockup model based on the CMS logical system. That's what I'm referring to this graph. We could have a Redfish model for this system. And I can start to put some like drawings, like those kind of circle and the connection plus for Redfish. If the team think this is a good approach or this is a good thing, we can create a folder underneath in the in our Google Drive and have some collaboration there. And the next week or the week after, we'll have Samsung to present their Redfish about switches, then we can leverage that as well. The system has the direct connect CXL memory, multi-headed switch, and devices attached to the switch. So it should cover all the cases. Any feedback? I think this is a thing that we want to do under OCP. Am I talking? Can you hear me? I think I'm
Yeah,
not.
we hear you. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think just thinking. I mean, do we find any issues that are immediate and need discussion with DMTF in terms of CXL fabric management? We have reviewed quite a lot of material from them.
Yeah. If we don't design a product or if we don't build for a specific system, I say it's pretty hard to find issues or what really is needed. Like Samsung team, they found they need to achieve the binding between different physical ports. Then they realize it's nice to have the VCS object in Redfish, but if we don't build a model, don't implement a system, it's kind of hard actually just looking at a spec to see what is missing.
But I think that's more forward-looking work, if I understand correctly, because CXL is trying to step up to the bandwidth challenge, which has kept it out of AI systems. And the work that is going on in PCI and CXL to compete better with some of the other technologies that have higher bandwidth. it's being addressed through these features you were talking about, Hongjin, that Samsung team is interested in. That's my understanding right now.
I think it's slightly different, right? I think it was if in the CXL specification, there's the concept of a virtual CXL switch, and then you have to bind virtual ports into these virtual CXL switches. And Hongjin, I think yeah, you should jump in here. What I read from the email, I just looked through the emails briefly, was that yeah, in Redfish currently, there's no mechanism for a virtual CXL switch. Like they talked about it, assuming that it's there, but it's actually not really there. And I think they mentioned which version would have it, right? I think that's the discussion, right? It's
Oh,
about
I see. Sorry about
virtual
that.
CXL switches specifically, but Hongjin, just verify that.
Yeah, that's what the request is to put the virtual CXL switch into the Redfish spec. Because it's not there. Yeah, and the other thing is not very clear in the MTF specification is how those memory binding should be done. Like it just shows the schema, like when you issue a get command or read the information back, what information will be shown to the users, but it does not give detailed examples or the commands, how the user wants to management, like a provision of memory, how that piece of workflow look like. Yeah, that's also from Samsung's email to the MTF. Yeah. Yeah, so here's what I would like to propose is we can build up a model to covering the CMS logical system and show what expected system behavior should like, give examples if user wants to bind from one device to a host, what commands needs to be issued and what the Redfish will look like before and after. If we run into any issues while building the mockup, then we know what requests we are going to send to the MTF. Um, um, right. So is this sounds like a plan, or is that just something I myself is interested in?
Well, my feedback, I think it's very interesting, but the one concern that I have is that, we're free to imagine any hardware we want, right? So yeah, we're gonna have some model, right?
Yeah.
Of what the hardware looks like, and then we're gonna build this mock-up based on that hardware. So yeah, my only one concern would be how applicable is that hardware? And I think we can do a good job, like collectively as a group, and that we like that probably will be the most important part, agreeing on like what capability we want to show off, what the hardware will look like. I think that's going to take more time, or maybe not more time, but maybe more difficult than just the talking about the Redfish on top of whatever we come up with, right? So I think that's my only high level concern because we have so many options, right? That's the
That's right.
hard part. Yeah, but other than that, I think it's a great idea and it makes things more concrete.
Yeah. I think your concern is about like different companies might have different endpoints and they choose different maybe fields for the implementation or the value. I
Yeah,
think
so-
it
Go for it.
yeah it say some of the fields like company wise like all type 3 devices, they have something in common. They might have their own uniqueness. or we can create two endpoints to represent, say, this is a Seagate endpoints. It will look like exactly like this, and the Samsung endpoints might have will have another endpoint. If we can find something in common with, we can say, okay, this is what we need to.
Here's another way to do it, right? If I look at the CXL standard, right, it has a generic description of like binding virtual CXL switches, right? Dealing with multi-headed devices. Another way that we could say it is that this is some imaginary hardware block with these properties, right? Like it has so many upstream ports, so many downstream ports, it supports this many VCS. So we could talk about it from purely from the standards viewpoint and say, hey, this is a reasonable hardware that exists, right? Just kind of looking at it from there and then build the redfish on top of that. And then if we did that, it would not be tied to any particular vendor's implementation. How does that sound?
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I like this approach.
Yeah, and we'll just say it has these CXL capabilities, and then here's how we would model it with redfish. And then, yeah, then I think we don't have to worry about any of those other details.
Yep, sounds good. Okay, good. Okay, just a quick reminder that what we are trying to do is have a revision 0.1 for the white paper next week. If it's not, then it's not. There's, yeah, this is not a mandatory requirement or anything. And appreciate everyone help building up this white paper. Any other topics anyone wants to discuss? If not, I think let's close the meeting, give it 5 minutes back to everyone.
Right.
Thanks for attending. Yeah, once I get a confirmation for the meeting, I will update the team calendar and send out the notification.
Right.
So next week, we might not meet at 9 a.m. Thursday. So yeah, just be aware. Okay, yeah, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hongjun.
Yeah, thank you.
Next week is CXL DevCon.
Then should we skip next week and targeting the week after?
No. It will not conflict with this time meeting, but I was just maybe recommending everybody to join.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks everyone. Okay.